What if the silence in your room right now isn't actually empty? What if the quiet you think you are sitting in is not an absence of noise, but a frequency so constant, so pervasive, that your brain has simply learned to tune it out? Pause for a second. Listen. Not to the traffic outside, not to the hum of your computer fan. Listen to the pressure in the air, that faint, high-pitched ring that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. They told you this is just biology. They told you it's just the sound of modern life. But they never wanted you to know the terrifying truth written in the buried codexes of Nag Hammadi. That sound is a fence. That pressure is a cage. You have stumbled upon this transmission because a part of you, the part that remembers before you were born, is screaming. You are sensing the harvest. We are about to decode the forbidden mechanism hidden inside the title of this video. The color of fear. How Archons see the Loosh energy you cannot see. You might think this is a metaphor. You might think we are talking about psychology. We are not. We are talking about physics, but a physics that the church and the scientific establishment have erased from your history books. The premise we are activating today changes everything you know about your emotions. They told you that silence is the absence of sound, but the Gnostic secret is that the universe is a hymn, a grand orchestration of light and vibration. And what you call fear, what you call anxiety, is actually a dissonant frequency, a jammer signal. This is the Loosh energy. The Archons, those inorganic parasites described by the Gnostics, they don't just feed on you metaphorically. They see you, but they don't see skin and bone. They see waveforms. They see the color of your vibration. And right now, for most of humanity, that color is a blinding, delicious red alert. This is the warning they tried to bury. In the color of fear, how Archons see the Loosh. Energy you cannot see. We are going to expose the Hymn of Forgetfulness. We are going to reveal how the false god, the Demiurge, utilizes sound sickness to silence the call of the pleroma. But more importantly, we are going to hand you the weapon they fear most. A technology of the soul. A way to modulate your own frequency, to change your color on their radar, and to become invisible to the harvest. The rebellion begins not with a shout, but with a hum. Are you ready to hear what they have been hiding? The sonic cage and the archonic synesthesia. Let us dismantle the first great lie. You have been raised in a culture that prioritizes the visual. You believe that reality is what you can touch and see. The church, the state, the educational systems, they are all designed to keep you locked in the material, the tangible. They want you obsessed with the physical world because the physical world is the easiest to manipulate. But the Gnostic texts, specifically the fractured wisdom found in the Apocryphon of John, hint at a different architecture. They suggest that the universe was sung into existence, that the pleroma, the fullness, the true origin of your divine spark, is a harmonic resonance of pure unity. When the fall occurred, when Sophia's wisdom fragmented, and the Demiurge, the blind craftsman, built this copycat reality, he could not replicate the pure song of the pleroma. He could only mimic it. He created a cover version, a distorted echo. This is the matrix you live in. It is not just a hologram of light. It is a construct of sound. And the Archons, these rulers of the simulation, they are synesthetic entities. This is the crucial key of the color of fear. How Archons see the Loosh energy you cannot see. To them, sound is visible. Vibration has a hue. Imagine you are an Archon, hovering just outside the spectrum of visible light. Looking down at the human farm, you do not see people walking to work or sitting in traffic. You see pulses of energy. When a human being enters a state of deep, vibrating peace, the state of gnosis, they emit a frequency that looks like absolute transparency to an Archon. It is invisible. It is tasteless. It is of no use to them. But fear is different. Fear has a density. When you are afraid, when you are anxious, your energetic field compresses. It vibrates at a low, erratic rate. To an Archon, this looks like a flare being shot into the night sky. It glows. It has a specific color in the hyperdimensional spectrum, a chaotic, delicious static that they crave. This is why the world is designed the way it is. Have you ever wondered why the news cycle never stops? Why the notifications on your phone are engineered to trigger a microdose of cortisol? Why the architecture of our modern cities is designed to amplify noise, not dampen it? It is not accidental. It is a farming technique. They are cultivating the Loosh. Loosh is not just suffering. It is a specific vibrational cocktail. It is the sound of a divine spark forgetting its origin and vibrating in sympathy with the material cage. Every time you doom scroll, every time you get lost in a hypothetical argument in your shower, every time you replay a trauma from 10 years ago, you are literally painting yourself with the color of fear. You are lighting up the grid. You are ringing the dinner bell. This brings us to a terrifying realization about our modern, connected life. Think about your smartphone. It is a portal, yes, but it is also a tuning fork. The algorithms that govern your social media feeds are not just trying to sell you products. They are trying to tune your instrument. They show you rage bait. They show you tragedy. They show you impending doom. Why? Because if they can get millions of people to vibrate at the exact same frequency of outrage or terror at the exact same time, the yield of Loosh is massive. It is a banquet for the Archons. They are farming your resonance. You think you are informed, but you are actually being played like a violin. Let's disrupt this signal right now. We need to prove to your body that you can step out of their rhythm. Pause where you are. Don't close your eyes. Keep them open. Look at the chaos of the room or the screen. Now, take a deep breath. But as you exhale, I want you to imagine that you are turning a dial on an old radio. The noise of the world, the fear, the deadlines, the expectations is static. As you breathe out, visualize tuning past that static to a space between the stations. A blank, white hum. Do it again. Inhale the chaos, exhale, and tune to the blank space. That split second of relief, that is you slipping through the bars of the cage. That is the first step of gnosis. The Hymn of Forgetfulness. We must go deeper into the mechanism of the trap. If the Archons see your fear as color, how do they ensure you keep producing it? They cannot just rely on random events. They need a constant background radiation to suppress your memory of the pleroma. The texts of Nag Hammadi speak of the Serbi Ton Seti Kam, the spirit of counterfeit, a force that mimics the divine but leads to exhaustion. In our sonic decoding, this is the Hymn of Forgetfulness. The Hymn of Forgetfulness is the ambient frequency of this reality. It is the reason why, even when everything is going well, you feel a nagging sense that something is wrong. It is the reason why silence feels uncomfortable to modern humans. We have been conditioned to fear the silence because the silence is where the hymn of forgetfulness is most audible. The Demiurge broadcasts this frequency to jam the signal of your divine spark. Your spark is a fragment of the eternal. It has its own tone, a note that corresponds to your unique signature in the pleroma. If you were to hear that note clearly, if you were to remember the sound of your true home, the illusion of this world would shatter instantly. The walls of the prison would dissolve because they are made of a lower vibration. So, the system must drown it out. It uses layers of dissonance. The first layer is biological, the survival drive, the lizard brain screaming about safety. The second layer is societal, the pressure to conform, to achieve, to debt. But the third layer, the one they hide in, the color of fear. How Archons see the Loosh, energy you cannot see, is esoteric. It is a broadcast of unworthiness. It is a subtle, constant vibration that whispers, "You are small, you are alone, you are physical." This is why true music, true art, true poetry often makes you cry without explanation. Those are moments where a higher frequency pierces through the Hymn of Forgetfulness. For a second, the jamming signal fails, and you hear the echo of home. The Archons hate this. They hate the frequencies of awe, of gratitude, of sublime beauty. Those frequencies are toxic to them. They cannot metabolize them. So, they co-opt music. Look at the music industry today. Look at the repetition, the auto-tune perfection that strips the human soul out of the voice, the glorification of low vibrational themes, lust, greed, violence. This is not just pop culture. This is the sonic engineering of a slave species. They are training you to sing their song, not yours. Think about the last time you felt truly powerless. Maybe it was watching the news. Maybe it was a financial scare. In that moment, your internal monologue probably started racing. What if I lose everything? What if I get sick? What if they are right? That internal voice. That isn't you. That is the receiver in your mind picking up the hymn of forgetfulness and amplifying it. You amplify it with your attention, and in doing so, you generate the Loosh. You convert your divine creative potential into a thick, dark smog of anxiety that feeds the system that enslaves you. We need to break this loop. We need to introduce a glitch in their broadcast. Here is a micro-practice to identify the hymn. Next time you feel that sudden drop in your stomach, that wave of anxiety that seems to come from nowhere, stop. Do not engage with the thought. Do not try to solve the worry. Instead, treat it as a sound. Imagine that anxiety is a loud, screeching siren in the room. Now, ask yourself, who is playing this recording? By objectifying the fear, by treating it as an external sound rather than an internal truth, you separate your consciousness from the Loosh generation. You become the observer, not the battery. You stop painting yourself with the color they want to eat. Find the resonance. Rebellion. Your sonic shield. We have arrived at the threshold of the solution. We have identified the Loosh as a sound sickness and the Archons as parasites of frequency. Now, we must arm you. The ancient Gnostics didn't just write texts, they chanted. They used vowels, intonations, seemingly nonsensical strings of sounds like IAO or ZZZ. Historians think these were just magic spells. They were wrong. These were acoustic codes. These were attempts to use the human voice, the only instrument capable of bridging the material and the spiritual, to hack the frequency of the simulation. You possess a biological synthesizer in your throat. Your voice is not just for communication. It is for creation. And it is for defense. The title, The Color of Fear. How Archons See the Loosh Energy You Cannot See, implies that if you change the poru, color, frequency of your energy, you disappear from their sight. You become sovereign. The solution is not to fight the Archons. You cannot fight a shadow with a sword. You fight it with a light. In sonic terms, you cannot fight noise with more noise. You fight it with a pure tone. This is the law of destructive interference in physics. If you introduce a sound wave that is the exact inverse of the noise is cancelled out. It becomes silence, true silence. We are going to teach you how to generate a carrier wave of sovereignty. This is a technique to override the Hymn of Forgetfulness and stop the Loosh extraction instantly. This is not meditation. This is active combat using your biology. The Archons expect you to be silent and absorb their programming. When you begin to vibrate on your own volition, when you hum the song of your own divine spark, you create a force field. You create a dome of high-frequency resonance that burns the Loosh before it can be harvested. The Sovereignty Hum, a 3-step protocol. This is the technology of the soul. You do not need a temple. You do not need a priest. You need your lungs and your intent. We are going to deploy the Sovereignty Hum. This practice is designed to reset your energetic signature and render you invisible to the archonic gaze. Follow these steps precisely. Step 1. The disconnect, the physical mute. First, you must physically break the link with the external hymn. Find a place where you can be alone for 3 minutes. Put your phone in another room. This is crucial. You need to sever the digital tether. Sit comfortably, spine straight. Your spine is the antenna. Close your eyes and cover your ears with your hands. Not just to block sound, but to listen to the inner ocean. Listen to the blood rushing, the breath moving. This is your biological baseline. You are reclaiming your sensory inputs. Say, internally, I revoke all permission for my energy to be harvested. I am closed for business. Feel the doors of your aura slamming shut. Step 2. Locating the resistance tone. Now, with your ears still covered or your focus turned inward, keep your mouth closed. Inhale deeply into your belly, not your chest. As you exhale, I want you to make a low, steady humming sound deep in your throat. Do not worry about the pitch. Just find a note that feels good in your chest. A note that makes your breastbone vibrate. This vibration is the key. The Archons operate in the high-pitched frequencies of frantic thought and nervous system dysregulation. This low, guttural hum is the sound of the earth, the sound of the root. It is a grounding chord. As you hum, visualize that this sound is a physical color. Let's choose gold, the color of the uncorrupted divine spark. Imagine this gold vibration starting in your throat and expanding outward. Step 3. The sonic dome, modulation. Here is the advanced maneuver. As you continue to hum, imagine that this sound is pushing the fear out of your body. Visualize the color of fear, that sickly red or gray static, being shattered by your golden hum. The sound wave is physically pushing the archonic parasites away from your field. Now, modulate the intensity. Make the hum slightly louder, then softer. Pulse it. You are scrambling their radar. You are declaring that you are the master of your own frequency. Do this for at least 3 minutes. By the end, you should feel a tingling sensation in your body. That is not just oxygen. That is the Loosh returning to you. That is your energy, recycled back into your own system instead of being eaten. You have become a self-sustaining generator. You are no longer a farm animal. You are a reactor. When you open your eyes after this practice, the world will look sharper. The colors will be different. The anxiety will feel distant, like a radio playing in a neighbor's house, not in your own head. You have successfully changed your channel. You have stepped out of the range of the color of fear. The call to the silent rebellion. We have journeyed from the paranoia of the prison to the power of the key. You now understand that the color of fear, how Archons see the Loosh. Energy you cannot see is not just a title. It is a diagnosis of the human condition under the rule of the Demiurge. But you also possess the cure. The cure is not in fighting the darkness, but in singing a song the darkness cannot comprehend. The Archons rely on your silence. They rely on your passivity. They rely on you believing that the fear you feel is yours. But now you know the truth. The fear is a broadcast. The anxiety is a harvesting tool. And you are the glitch in their system. You are the divine spark that remembers the melody of the pleroma. Imagine what would happen if just 1% of the population started doing this. Imagine if, instead of doom scrolling before bed, millions of us hummed the frequency of sovereignty. Imagine the disruption to the Loosh farm. We would starve the gods of this world. We would bring down the walls of the sonic cage without firing a single shot. This is the rebellion they are terrified of, a rebellion of resonance. So, I ask you, will you choose to remember? Will you let your voice remain dormant? Or will you use it to shatter the illusion? The choice is made in every single breath. I want you to solidify this commitment right now. Go to the comments below. Do not just type a generic response. I want you to type, "I am the frequency." By writing this, you are anchoring this truth into the digital realm, turning even the algorithm into a testament of your awakening. Share your reflections. Did you feel the vibration? Did you see the color shift? Let us build a community of resonators. Like this video to amplify the signal to other sleeping souls. Cha tu ofiyuen. Subscribe if you are ready to decode the next layer of the matrix. The Hymn of Forgetfulness is strong, but your memory is stronger. You are not the fear. You are the one listening to it. Now, change the station.